let's move on to topic number 2. And topic number 2 today comes to us from one of our Patreon supporters, Blake Dieters, who writes, new Patreon supporter and longtime fan of your work. Thank you so much, Blake. My question is regarding the movie Warrior with Tom Hardy. We just talked about Warrior, actually directed by Gavin O'Connor, with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. It is one of my top 10 movies of all time, and I understand it isn't that high for most people, but why didn't this film get more love than it did? All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And you know what? I've never looked this up. Let me look this up. How much did Warrior make at the box? I remember it did not do great. It did not do great at the box office. Worldwide, I mean, it lost money. It was a flop. It made $23 million worldwide, 13.6 in North America, $9 million overseas for $23.57 million. And make no mistake, this movie is great. And I ain't saying that just because I'm an MMA fan, although the fact, but even back in 2011, that was like one of the few huge MMA fans at the time, that had, I mean, yeah, I'm sure that gave it a little bit of a leg up for me. But regardless of the fact that it was about MMA, this is a great movie. Gavin O'Connor directed it beautifully. Joel Edgerton was great. Tom Hardy was great. Nick Nolte was great in it. It's a wonderful movie about brothers. It's not about MMA. The movie's about family and brothers and conflict and all this amazing stuff. And the movie is absolutely wonderful. So if it's so wonderful, why didn't it get more love? Why did it only make $23 million at the box office? Well, I think there are two key reasons here. Number one is the smaller reason, okay? And that is, hey, today we hear Joel Edgerton, Tom Hardy, that's huge. 7 years ago, not so much. I mean, 7 years ago, Tom Hardy or Joel Edgerton was kind of base. I mean, he had a long portfolio, but really what he was most known for is like, isn't he the guy who played like Luke's uncle in that Star Wars movie for 2 minutes? Like that was kind of what he was best known for. And Tom Hardy, while he did Bronson, he was nowhere near a household name at the time. So you had these two relative, as far as the general movie-going audience goes, these two relative unknown guys in the lead. And that leads us into the second reason, that I think is the bigger reason. Today, MMA is the fastest growing, widely loved sport, right? But in 2011, it was still a niche sport that not a lot of people in the general audience understood. To some people, it was just like some barbaric thing of throw two savages in a ring and let them pound on each other. Like that was kind of still a little bit of the impression around it. I mean, obviously today, you release Warrior for the first time today, starring Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy around mixed martial arts with the degree of popularity that it has today, that $23 million result is probably more like a $93 million result. It wouldn't have been a $1 billion film, but maybe $100 million, maybe $200 million film. But it's just that at the time, MMA was still facing a lot of stigma from the general public that didn't quite understand it. You had two guys in the lead that were by no means like newcomers, but they weren't exactly household names. You combine those two things together, you just weren't able to convince a lot of people to go give it a chance. And I'll be honest, I was excited about this movie. And even I was surprised at how good it was. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. And if I was excited about it and not expecting it to be that good, you can just assume that a lot of the general audience probably was really not expecting it to be that good at all and therefore never gave it a chance. So look, I'm sure there are like 50 different reasons why Warrior didn't do better than it did, but I honestly do think the two of the biggest ones were the fact that Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton weren't who they are today at that time, leading a movie around a subject matter that a lot of the wider public didn't quite understand yet. And I think you put this movie out today, it's a totally different story. But hey, it is what it is. And I agree with you, man. Like it's not one of my top 10 all-time favorites, but it's a great movie that I thoroughly enjoy. All right, let's move on to topic number 3.